Okay, good afternoon once again. We thank God we have had another vacation, and just as we have been doing, we will continue with our lessons on YouTube. Please, you should take these topics that we are going to do for this period from now till March when we come back to school very serious. We have started the functional areas of management. So whilst we were in school, we started human resource management. Remember, we have learned that when we come to the functional areas, we have human resource management, production management, marketing management, and financial management. We have already done financial management. We started human resource management. We know what human resource is. When we say human resource, what is it? Then we also know what human resource management is. We talked about the functions of human resource management. And we learned that one of the functions of human resource management is recruitment. And that is what we are going to do today. So today we are going to talk about recruitment. Remember, whereas we were talking about the functions, we talked about what recruitment is all about. And you brought newspapers that had vacancies inside. They were seeking and they were attracting a pool of human resource. And from that pool, then they select the best. So today we'll be looking at the meaning of recruitment. We also look at the sources of recruitment. We look at the sources of recruitment. We will look at internal source and external source. Then we look at the meaning of internal. When you say internal source, what is it? And what are the advantages and disadvantages of the internal source? We also look at the meaning of external source. Then we look at the advantages and disadvantages of the external source. Then these sources, the internal source, has its own sources. So we look at that one. Remember, when you say sources of something, you know what it is. Then we also look at the sources of the external source. And we will end this video with the steps involved in recruitment. So that is what we'll be looking at. So what is recruitment? What is recruitment? Now, if you look at this diagram here, you assume these are people. All the dots you see are the people in the world or wherever you find yourself. So these are the people, the catchment area. Then this is an organization. This organization is seeking. This organization, you remember when I asked you to bring newspaper items on vacancy? You brought and you see vacancy. They were seeking. So the organization seeks by advertising. That is why you brought that piece. And the company was advertising for positions. So they are going to search for the people. So they are seeking. Now when they seek, you see these people. Look at this one. And you see that this is the one here. If you look at this one, this is the one here. If you look at this one, this is the one here. Whatever advertisement that was made, you know the duties involved. When you brought the newspaper, we also talk about job specification. When we are learning about job analysis, we learned about job description. We also talk about job specification. So you know, when they seek, when they advertise, those who think they qualify, they will be attracted. So if you look at it, you see what this one has been attracted, he has applied. This one too has been attracted, he has applied. This one too has been attracted. So when the company seeks, the company will attract a pool of human resource. Now you know what human resource, when you say human resource, you know what human resource is all about. So the company will seek and it will attract a pool of human resource. Then from this pool, the best is selected. So they needed one person to do the job. So this is the one that has been selected. That is all that recruitment is about. It is a process, and in that process you seek and you attract a pool of human resource, and that is where recruitment ends. So recruitment will bring in the pool of human resource. Then there will be subsequent selection procedure that will enable the organization select the best or choose the best person for the job. So somewhere along the line, in our next video, we will even be talking about the difference between recruitment and selection. So recruitment will bring the pool of human resource. So if you look at it critically, recruitment will end here. So because when they search for, they attracted this pool. Then there will be subsequent selection procedure, and that selection procedure will enable them to choose the best one for the job. So when you say recruitment, in a nutshell, that is all that we are talking about. It is about you seeking, and how do you seek? By advertising, and then you attract a pool of human resource, and from that pool, then the best candidate or candidates, maybe you may want one person or two people, whatever it is or are selected. So that is for the meaning. Now let's go to sources of recruitment. Sources of recruitment. We all know the concept of sources. Where do they get the people from? Where? Now, when there is vacancy, the organization may get the people either from within the organization or outside the organization. You remember when I asked you to bring newspaper item on vacancy? They were searching from people outside the organization. So anybody who is not or was not an employee of the organization, when the person sees the advert, the person will apply. That means they went outside the organization. There are certain times when there is or there are vacancies, they will get somebody from within. If you look at a typical organizational structure, which we have learned in a manufacturing firm, you see that you may have the board of directors, then you may have the general manager, then you may have the functional heads. So maybe the general manager has retired and they may need somebody to replace. They may pick somebody who is within. It can be the production manager who may be prepared for that job. It can be the marketing manager. It can be the financial manager. It may be whoever that may qualify for that job. When they pick somebody from within, then that is also their source. So there are two main sources. Either it is within the organization, which is called internal recruitment, or it is outside the organization, which is called external recruitment. So these are the two main sources of recruitment. We have internal recruitment, that is where you get the potential employee from within the organization. And then when you go outside to search for the potential employee, that is called external recruitment. So that is for internal and the external recruitment. Now, these two main sources also have their own sources. If the organization wants somebody from within, where do they get the person from? Where? That is the sources of internal recruitment. And these are the sources we can talk about. The organization can have a poster where they will place the poster or they'll be pasting along the buildings or some other places, so that if you qualify within the organization, if you see the poster and you think that you qualify for that vacancy, you may apply for. Or they can send circulars. When we were talking about communication, we talked about circulars. So they can also send circulars. Now, you qualify that letter comes, and then you think that it comes to your department and you think that you qualify for it, then you can apply. They can also put it in their website. So company website is also another. So when you go to their website and you see that they are advertising for any vacancy, you are in the organization. So you go to your website and you see that a particular position has been advertised, you can apply. It can also be in the company's newsletters. Now you remember when you even vacate and you are going home, the school gives you newsletters to your parents. So every organization may have their newsletters, and one organization's newsletter may be different, the style may be different from the other. So if you know your organization, you know your newsletters, the period that the newsletter comes out, you go and read it. You read the newsletter and there is any vacancy they have advertised and you think you qualify, you apply for that one. They can also place it on the company's notice board. So you go to the notice board, you can see that vacant position being advertised, you can apply. Then they can also come from promotion. You qualify. You might have worked for the organization for a certain period and you qualify to be moved from a lower rank to a higher rank. Remember, internal recruitment is promotion. Internal recruitment is promotion. Because certainly if you are being recruited internally, it means you will certainly be moved from a lower rank to a higher rank. So it may also be as a result of promotion. When you have attained a certain academic qualification or any other means by which you can be promoted, that is also another source. Or you can also come from transfer, where you are working in a particular department or in a particular region or wherever, you can be transferred to another place to take over a higher position. Then it can also come as a result of an employee's recommendation. Somebody who is already working in the organization, there's a vacancy, the person can be recommended by his manager or whatever, his boss. There can be that recommendation that this person can do this job and you may be considered. So these are the sources of internal recruitment. Now when you are using internal recruitment, what are the advantages? What are the advantages of internal recruitment? What are the advantages of internal recruitment? Very simple, straightforward advantages. If you are in an organization and there's vacancy, and those of you who are within the organization and those who are going to be considered, what do you think will be the good thing? Certainly, it is motivating. You have done motivation. You have done motivation. So you see that if you know that so long as you continue to work with this organization, when there is any vacancy, you'll be considered, you'll be preferred to the outsiders, then certainly that will encourage you to give up your best so that anytime there is vacancy, you can be considered. So it is quite encouraging and motivating to employees. Number two, very simple, straightforward. This internal recruitment can bleed or it can bring conflict in the organization when others feel that they have been cheated. Remember, I've told you internal recruitment is promotion. So if somebody thinks that, or others think that the one that was recruited, the one that was considered to occupy that big position or higher position is not the one that is qualified to be in that position, then it can bring or it can bleed conflicts within the organization. The next one, very simple, straightforward. Internal recruitment brings lack of respect for authority. And how does it bring lack of respect for authority? Now, let's look at it this way. You are working with somebody in the organization. Everybody knows the person's weakness. And when I talk about weakness, you can think about anything that is the person's weakness. So if that person has now come to occupy that big position, because those who are already in, you see, if an outsider had come, they may not know anything about that person, so they will respect the person's authority. But once you were there with them, all the things you might have been doing, all the bad things, anything they know, and they may take advantage of your weakness and disrespect you. And they may even be making references to your weakness. If you tell somebody something, they will tell you, when you were so and so and so and so, were you not so and so, were you not doing this? Now you want somebody to do that, and so on and so forth. So you see, once they know your weakness, they will use it against you. And that is one big disadvantage of internal recruitment. It easily brings lack of respect for authority. The next one is that it may be done, or it may not be done on merit. It may not be done on merit. The one doing it may be biased in respect of recruiting somebody from within. When that happens, what is going to happen is that an unqualified person may be recruited to occupy a particular position. And when an unqualified person is recruited, you know the effect that is going to have on productivity. So that is another disadvantage. So these are the disadvantages of internal recruitment. Now let's go to external recruitment. We have learned about the meaning of external recruitment. When you say external recruitment, what is it? This is where you go outside the organization to seek for the human resource to occupy vacant position. What are the sources? We have talked about the sources of the internal recruitment. So now when you come to the external, what are the sources? Number one is unsolicited applicants, or what we call direct application. Others will also call it walk-in. Walk-ins. So either you say unsolicited applicants, or you say direct applications or applicants, or walk-in. What does that mean? When somebody solicits for something, let's look at this one. The organization advertised. So they solicited for the human resource. But you see, when you come here, there are certain times somebody might have completed school, the person hadn't seen any advert anywhere for a particular organization, but this person wants to work there. So what they normally do is that even though there is no advert, the person may write an application letter and send to the organization. If it goes and there is vacancy, fine, you may be called. But when you go and there is no vacancy, you see, they will put your, that's why you say walk in. So the person walked in. That's the name. Then direct application. If they had done that, it would have been indirect because you saw the advert on the newspaper. But here, you went there directly when you hadn't seen any advert. Or unsolicited. No one solicited for it. If you don't understand the word to solicit for something, go and find out. So no one, the organization did not search for you. You decided to apply for it. So that's why we call it unsolicited applicant. So what did they do with such letters? They have a certain file, they will put the letter inside. That file is called active file. That file is called active file. So what do they do? In future, when there is any vacancy, instead of advertising in the newspaper, they will now go to that active file, then they will open the active file. Now, let's assume all these are letters. So they will be looking at it. Maybe the last one is here, long term. They may not look at it. They will go through this one, then they will pick this. They will go through it, they will pick this. So they will pick the potential employees from the active file. And that is what we call unsolicited applicant. So that is what, when you say unsolicited applicant, nobody solicited for you. You know, in your language, actually, somebody can go to and say, maybe the person will ask, Ejuma Oho, is there any job? Ejuma Oho. That is unsolicited. You went there. So that is for unsolicited. Number two, you can go to employment or recruitment agencies. Now we have done agency. So when you talk about agency, you know. So when I say recruitment agency, if you have done law of agency and I say recruitment agency, then you know what it is all about. So you go to any of these private recruitment agencies. What do they do? That is their work. So if you go there, they can get somebody for the organization. Maybe somebody who needs a job might have gone there. Then you also need somebody, you also go there. When you go there, they can help you get the people. So where did you get that person from that recruitment agency? So that is the source. The next one, very simple, straightforward, which you know, probably that should have even been the first one, is the advertising through the media. And that is where you all brought your assignment on vacancies and you saw everything. So you can advertise through the media, radio, newspapers, and so on and so forth. Then you can also get the people from colleges, schools, and universities, or any other educational institutions. Now, even you, SHS, there are times some companies come here, they bring leaflets and they give to the Form 3 students who are about to complete. And they say they want some people to be their sales agents. So they give you the leaflets, you read wherever they are. If you want to go and join them, you join them. Some companies, when the final year students in universities, colleges, and other educational institutions are about to leave school, they go there to search for them. Some of them will come and they want first-class students. These days, because of unemployment, those days, companies were, in the olden days, ask your parents, companies were going to the universities to try to attract people to come and work for them. They were begging them to work for them. So you can go to any of the universities to get them. Then labor unions. We have learned about what labor unions are when we were talking about collective bargaining. We learned that employees form their associations. So you can see any of the labor unions, you know of, if it is a teacher you want, you can see NAGRAT or NAT or any whatever. You want a driver, you can go and see GPRTU. They can give you somebody and so and so. So it depends on whoever you want. You see labor union and the leadership can give you competent people to work for you. Then it can also be through employees referral. Somebody is working in an organization, the person is an employee. The person can tell you that, sir, this job, I know of somebody at this place who can do this job. So you say, oh, let him come and see me tomorrow. Let him come and see me next week. It's the employee that referred you to someone else. So it is called employees referral. The next one is former employees. Former, when you say former, it means the person already worked in the organization and you can engage the person again. Particularly, somebody may even retire and you may want a security person. You can engage the person. So the person is a former employee. Or it can be any other position. So that is for former employees. The next one, very simple, straightforward. You can also go to you can place it on your website. People will go there and they can apply. So that is also, remember, you see, web company's website, when we are looking at external is here. When we are also looking at the internal, we also saw it somewhere in the internal is also here. The same thing, because somebody within can go to your website, somebody outside can go to your website. So that is for that one. Then there can also be job fairs. You know trade fairs. So when you say trade fairs, we have done it. So you know trade fairs. So when you say job fairs, I don't need to explain to you again if you know what trade fairs. You remember when we were in school, I even asked those of you or from Accra where the trade fair is located, and most of you could not even tell me. Now we have dealt with trade fair, but here it is not trade fair, it's job fair. So now think about what job fair is all be about. So that is for that one. Then you can also get it from professional association. Like you need an accountant, you can go to the Association of Chartered Accountants and you can get somebody. Ghana Bar Association can give you a lawyer, and so on and so forth. So these are the external sources. Now let's look at the advantages and disadvantages. Very simple, straightforward. Look at it. We have looked at the advantages of internal recruitment. We have also looked at the disadvantages. Once you know the advantages of internal recruitment, then you certainly know the disadvantages of external recruitment. Once you know the disadvantages of internal recruitment, that means you automatically know the advantages of external recruitment. So they are very simple. It's very simple and straightforward. So the first one is that it brings new ideas. That is the first one. Now you see, if you look at it from this side. No, this is the disadvantage. No, that is not the one we are looking at. We are looking at the advantages of the external recruitment. It brings new ideas. If you look at this one, look at this. The disadvantages. The first one is that it discourages new faces from entering. And these new faces, they bring innovation into the organization. They bring innovation, new ideas. But you see, internal recruitment, if you are recruiting people from within the organization, it means that you are preventing new faces from coming. And these new faces will bring new ideas. I remember there was assuming there is any vacancy and a teacher within the school is promoted to be the head. That is internal. If somebody is brought outside, that is external. Now when the external person comes, he wants to bring new ideas. That is what happens in manufacturing firm school. So one advantage is that once you are allowing new people to come, they will bring new ideas. And in other words, they are bringing innovations. And these are people who are experienced. They have the skills. They have the knowledge, they have the ability to do their work. So that is number one. Number two, look at this one. When you advertise, there are a whole lot of people who can be attracted. So you see, external recruitment will bring a large pool of people. But when you are using internal recruitment, there may be only one person that may qualify. There may be only two people. So you see, if it is only one person that qualifies, then you don't have any choice. You have to pick that person. If there are two, then it's 50-50. Either this or that. But when it is external, a lot of people will apply. Hundreds of potential employees are going to apply. So you see, then, if probability, you have done probability in mathematics, where you have only few people, one or two to select from. Then where you have a large number to select from, which of them do you think you are likely to get the best? Certainly, you know it is the one that you have about 100 people to select from. So that is the second advantage. It attracts large pool of applicants. And when if that is what is happening, then you see that you'll be able to select the best. You will get a better person, the best person than the internal. The third one, very simple, straightforward, it creates goodwill. It creates goodwill. Probably you have not done partnership in accounting. You learn about what goodwill is in partnership. Now, if you are using internal recruitment exclusively, that means you are not using external recruitment. What it means is that people outside will not know about the organization. But once you decide to go outside, then you are now marketing the company. Now, when I asked you to bring vacancies from the various newspapers, there were companies that you people did not know. But through that advertisement, you got to know them. So if you advertise in the newspaper, you are marketing your company to outsiders. And that is going to create goodwill among the society. So that is for that one. The next one, very simple, straightforward, is that this type of recruitment, the external one, minimizes infighting. It minimizes infighting. If you look at the internal one, the disadvantages. Number two says it bleeds conflicts when they fail or others feel cheated. Then we also, if you look at it, and you said it can easily bring about lack of respect. Why? Because everybody knows the person. Let me give you a typical example. Your headmaster was a teacher in the school, and so there were some teachers who knew him whilst he was in school. So you see, because of maybe one reason or the other, the person may know the person's his weakness. It can bring about this lack of respect for authority. It can bring about. It is said that familiarity breeds contempt. So if you get to know somebody, you know him, oh, this person, I know him, oh, this person, we were doing this together. But when a new person, that nobody knows, they are likely to respect the person because nobody knows the person. And now here you see that if the wrong person is brought, it can bring that infighting. But here nobody knows this person. As whether he's the wrong person, he's not the wrong person, nobody knows. So it will minimize infighting. So that is the point. The next point here is that new employees, after when they come, they work with zeal. When somebody comes from outside, the person works with zeal. So as a new employees often work with zeal and can have positive impact on the existing employees. Let me give you a typical example. Now, if you're a teacher, you came to the school or a school and you brought in innovations, you were hardworking and whatever. Even if you came to meet those who were not hardworking, you may influence them. Others will come, they will meet you, and then you can also influence those ones. So when a new person comes and the person works with zeal, that can have positive impact on the existing employees. So that is the point. Now the disadvantage is very simple. I have told you, if you know the advantages of internal recruitment, then the disadvantages of external recruitment become very simple. The first one is that it demotivates employees. If you look at this one, we said that it is very encouraging and motivating. But if you hear, you see, if I'm working in the organization, human resource manager, personnel manager, or human resource manager, production manager, there's vacancy for general manager. Then you go and bring somebody. We will be working, Anytime there's vacancy, you go and bring somebody from outside, it will discourage us, it will demotivate us. And you know the implication, when workers are demotivated, it affects productivity. So it is quite demotivating, and it will make them disloyal to the organization. The next one, very simple, straightforward, is it involves high cost. Look at this. Do you know how much it costs to advertise in the newspaper? Go and ask a company that when they advertise in the newspaper, if you want to use a full page, how much you pay. Then you now call them for interview, they come, you have to get a panel, you sit down, you do a whole lot of things. It involves so much cost. There are some companies, when you even attend interview, they pay your transportation, they give you food and other things. You have to get panels to sit down to do the interview, you have to pay them. So you see, so if you it involves high cost. Now, remember, we are looking at two concepts: internal recruitment and external recruitment. So when we say it involves high cost, it means we are comparing the internal recruitment with the external one. And relatively, in other words, when you compare internal recruitment, the cost involved in internal recruitment and the cost involved in external recruitment, certainly nobody should tell you that external recruitment costs higher than internal recruitment. So that is for that one. The next one, very simple, straightforward, is that the employees may not be as competent as their document will show. Somebody may come for interview, the person's certificate, first class. You read the person's CV, everything is nice. You even ask the person any question, the person can answer. These days, go to the net. They even teach you questions, you go for interview, the question and the answer you should give. So somebody can go to any website, somebody can go to YouTube, learn about how to answer a question. The person comes to sit down, you ask the person question, the person answers you. Now let's look at even our politicians. Look at the way they talk. When they talk, it's as if they can make Ghana like heaven. But when you give them your vote, you see the difference between the theory in them and then when it comes to practicals. So internal or external recruitment, somebody may come with nice certificate, with very good a nice document. You ask the person's questions, the person answers the person, but that may not be the case when you employ the person. The person's work may not be as the person thought. But if you have used internal recruitment, you already know the person. You know what the person can do. You already know. You cannot just go and bring anybody. So you are assured of the quality of work. So that is for that one. So I said, so we have done this one. The next one is that we have done this, and that one. So the fourth one, very simple. Remember, when you bring somebody from outside, you have to do intensive orientation. You have to conduct intensive orientation. But if somebody is already inside, the person knows the ins and the outs of the organization. I'm not saying if it is internal recruitment, there will not be any orientation, but it will be minimal. You may have to introduce the person to other people that this is the person who is now going to occupy this position. So you may not need days to conduct orientation. So long adjustment period, the person may not be able to adjust well, the new person. It may take the person long time to adjust, and there may be high cost in respect of orientation. So that is for that one. Now let's look at the last aspect of today's video. We are looking at the steps involved in recruitment. It's a very simple, straightforward concept. I've already talked about this one whilst we were in school. We were doing something, so we quickly ran through that one. The first thing is you conduct your job analysis, which we have already done. job analysis. You know, when you conduct job analysis, you want job description and job specification, the duties the person will be performing, the responsibility, the tasks involved, then the person who's supposed to do the job, what qualifications should the person have, that the job specification. So we have to look at that one. So when job analysis is done, then you can now advertise in the newspapers so that you can indicate the duties and then the specifications. When you advertise, people will apply, so you are going to receive applicants or application. Once you